Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle tutorial on Photoshop 221 and creating grid lines, all type of grid designs, or just lines if that's what you want. Of course, you can go to different angles as well using the pattern preview feature. Now this is only available in 221, so just going to remove these ones now. So just going to remove those, and you've got the pattern preview. You can see the document there, and to get that, go to View and Pattern Preview, turn it off, and there's just the standard document. View and pattern preview, and it's just always comes up with that panel. You've got the entirety. Now you could, for lines, use rectangle. Doesn't particularly work very well, certainly my version anyway. So I'd suggest line tool. Now line tool, the key thing here is go up here to the stroke, use shape, and set the size. That's a very key thing. If you go for the default, you'll probably find it 0, and then you add them and it will look like they vanish. They don't vanish, but they're only 0, so you can't see them. So you draw it, vanishes. Draw it, vanishes. Not very helpful. So what you can do, you can just draw it then, and you can see that line. Now, if I hold the Shift key down, now you can see there's a plus, and I add a line, that's added to the existing one. So you can see over here in layers, you can see that window and layers. That's just, so any additional lines I add now are all added to the same layer. You might want that. You might want to create, you can go each way, and you can add it line anywhere. So you can just put line there, line there. Doesn't have to be within the confines of that design. But if you go and change anything, so you go now and want to say change that line, well, what happens? You will change everything. So all of those, that will design will change, which is fine if that's what you want. But you can see you can create this very quick grid using that approach. But now I'm just going to go back, and because of what I want to do, I'm going to keep that, of course, but I'm just going to use, just don't hold the Shift down. So if you don't hold the Shift down straight, so start drawing, and you can see you can move it back and forwards. Then hold down the Shift, and it will go in a nice straight line, but it's not connected to the previous layer. So you get now 2 layers. And again, do exact same. You just start drawing, and now just draw across, and you get another. And again, you can move it around, but hold down the Shift and you can see your line. And what you can do then, of course, you can change the size just of that line, which is very useful. And also you can change the colour. So you can change colour. Now I'm going to hold the shift down. Oh, that's going to be on that. So that's a separate line. But hold the Shift down, you get that plus. And again, you can get those additional lines like that. And you can create all kinds of different designs. So now maybe start drawing a line. Hold down the Shift now, it's a straight line, but I'm going to change that if it lets me. Sometimes it doesn't seem to let. Very odd. There is definitely a feature there that's, yeah. I think there's an issue, some bug there, because I tried it running tutorial before. I obviously did a quick tutorial, and it did exactly the same thing. It just will not change the colour for some weird reason of the stroke. Very strange. However, maybe that's some little minor issue that's there, and you can draw another one, and you can see the line there. And again, don't hold the Shift down, but now hold the Shift down once you started drawing it. Then I can go, hopefully this time it will let me change it to pink. Oh, so it does that time. And also I can resize it. Now once you've done this, obviously you've got this very complex grid. It's grid design or line design. It doesn't have to be straight lines straight across. Perfectly reasonable. Do other angles as well. What you can do, you can go to Edit and Define Pattern. So Edit and Define Pattern, and just say click OK. So that's now saved as your pattern. So what you can do, you can get rid of all these. So I'm just going to remove all those. And now, just going to go over here to Edit and Fill. Now, actually I could remove, probably be better, because obviously all that does would apply it to that. I'm going to use a Fill layer there. So new there. And pattern. But before I do that, View and Pattern Preview, turn it off so you don't see the pattern. Obviously, there's no point just showing the pattern because, of course, that would confuse the issue. And I'm going to zoom in a bit. And now go to Layer and New Fill Layer and Pattern. Click OK. And obviously, it's got default there, the standard ones there. But there's the pattern that was just created. And now what you can do, you can move it around. So you've got your design, so it's lovely. And of course, what you can do also with this, you've got option for angle. So you can angle it at different angles if you want. And also you've got scale. So you can say 20. Click OK. And of course, once you've done that, you can always go to layer menu and you can flatten it. So you can flatten that design. So you've got now a lovely grid made up of lots of lines, different angles, different colours, and much more. You can also create diagonal lines, as well as added some sort of variation in it as well, if you want to do that. So I'm just going to remove that now. So now view and pattern preview, that's to turn it off. Now you'll notice that it's a square document, so you can work with diagonal lines with square documents. Not so easy with the previous document. So view, pattern preview, then go to the click OK, and then just go to the line tool and set the line there. See its shape, fill, I'm going for red. That's where you can see the red in that design, and also stroke there. And make certain it's got a size. So if it hasn't got a size, but it's 0, you probably think, well, it's going wrong. So you have to set a value there. Then what you can do, start outside and then just draw the line through the document and finish outside. Hold down the shift now. Oops. Went wrong there. Again. Just make certain it's 45 degrees. Yeah, there you can see the line. So again, outside, drag outside again, hold down the shift so it's physically, you can see it's 45 degrees, a bit constrained at 45, then release, and you can see. Now sometimes I notice it does occasionally leave a bit of a gap. Not always. If you do it again, it seems to work itself out. But I have noticed occasionally you just draw the line, do exactly the same like that, hold down the shift, 45 degrees, and then release. Some weird reason just seems to leave a little bit of a gap. How? Don't know why. So you can draw this obviously, and you can draw it outside, hold down the shift again, and you've got your line. And what you can do, of course, you can go and change colour. And you've got red there. And once you've done that, you can go to edit and define pattern exactly the same as before, and you've got your lovely diagonal line designing. But you can also add some variation in that. I'm just going to, without confusing myself which one, so I'm just going to go with one line. It's much easier with just one line. But of course you can do it with hundreds of lines. But it does mean that it's a bit more fiddly. And I think if you do hundreds of lines, it's probably best to make them not visible. Because sometimes I find that I'm starting to think, which line am I actually working with? Right. What you can do with that line, as long as you just go over here to layer, select the line, make certain line selected, and you can change the fill. If you want a green one or blue one, you can change that just here using the fill there. But I'm just going to go over here. Now, you might have this in a different position, customization. You can customize the toolbar. I've got my add anchor up here. So with that one selected, go there and you can select, click, and you can just click, click, and you can add lots of things. Now, sadly, Photoshop does not have a lovely add anchor point thing where it just adds them all nicely uniform. I would love that. Illustrator does. So Illustrator, if you want to, copy the line over into Illustrator and add points if you want. It's much easier, I think, to manipulate lines in Illustrator, of course, but Photoshop still can do it. And then what you can do, you can go over here to the direct section tool. Again, this might be in a different position for your system, and you can then click there and add sort of some variation to the design. And you can modify. Now, obviously, I'm just going to zoom out so you can see the design there. You can create all kinds of line designs very simply just by doing that. So you can, but if you just avoid going over the, of course you can go over the edge, it doesn't matter. Do that, and you can see the design is duplicated. So you can create some very interesting line designs at that approach as well. Tweak that, and so on and so on. And also you can use the curvature tool as well. Curvature tool in here is curvature pen tool. That's quite a useful tool as well. So you can go over here and you can manipulate the line there. And you can see again, you've got your line design like that. So you can create some maybe slightly interesting, unusual, wavy designs. So hold down the Alt Option key and you can duplicate that line. And you can see the design you can get there. So you can create far more interesting designs than just obviously that just thin line there. And you can again do that. Hold down the Alt Option key and create maybe a bit of a messy design, but still a pattern design all the same. So I'm just going to remove that. What you can do, edit and define a pattern, and that can be saved to your there. And of course you can do exactly the same if you've got the straight lines, crossways, perfectly reasonable to do that as well. So that's a quick way of creating some very interesting line designs using the line tool, with obviously with the addition of some anchor points here and there in Photoshop 2021 even. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Please subscribe to Graphic Extra channel, always adding new tutorials about Photoshop, Illustrator, Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer, Publisher, etc, etc. And also please add some comments, always appreciated. Just what did I do right, what did I do wrong, always nice to know. You know, if there's easier ways of doing it, please let me know in the comments. Also, a dislike or like. Thank you much.